Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into a really fascinating area of advanced performance management. We are looking at the ultimate corporate juggling act, how organizations measure, motivate, and manage their divisional leaders using performance metrics. Because here's the thing, if you design a scorecard poorly, you're basically begging for toxic, dysfunctional behavior. But if you design it well, you can align an entire massive company right towards strategic success. Let's get into it.
Here is our quick roadmap for today. We're going to cover motivating the boss, playing fair with controllability, the internal marketplace, measuring success with ROI versus RI, and finally, looking outward at benchmarking.
All right, starting at the top, Section 1, Motivating the Boss and Executive Compensation.
So, how exactly do you get a manager to care about the same things as the shareholders? This is that classic corporate headache known as the agency problem. It happens when the managers running the show have totally different goals than the folks who actually own the company. Think about the risk here. If a manager is just obsessed with securing a massive annual bonus, they might act purely out of self-interest. Empire building or ruthlessly slashing costs today in a way that actually destroys the company's long-term health down the line.
Look at the absolute contrast in the tools we have to fix this. On one side, we've got short-term bonuses. The danger? Well, short-termism. Managers might manipulate earnings or maybe cut vital R&D and maintenance, literally just to hit a quick quarterly target. But then, on the other side, we have long-term incentive plans, or LTIPs. These fundamentally tie the manager's personal wealth to the company's future value, usually by giving them shares that vest over several years. It forces them to plant seeds for tomorrow, not just harvest today.
So, the golden rule? A balanced compensation package is your absolute best defense against managers gaming the system. You need the fixed salary for stability, right? You need the short-term bonus for that daily operational drive. But you absolutely need that LTIP to ensure they don't burn down the company's future just to heat up the present. It perfectly aligns them with long-term shareholder value.
Moving right along to Section 2, Playing Fair with Controllability.
Look, if we're going to judge someone's performance and actually tie their paycheck to it, we've got to play fair. And that is defined by the controllability principle. It simply states that managers should be evaluated only on the costs, revenues, and assets that they can actually influence and control. It sounds like common sense, but believe me, corporate accounting gets this wrong all the time. You can see exactly where the line gets drawn here. Direct materials, labor? Yeah, the division manager completely controls those. But look at apportioned head office rent or central marketing. Come on, you cannot penalize a division manager for head office rent they didn't even sign the lease for. The solution here is to use dual performance reports. You evaluate them only on that strictly controllable stuff when it's time to calculate their bonus. Which brings us to Section 3, the internal marketplace, also known as transfer pricing.
Okay, so what happens when divisions in the same company start selling components to each other? Setting that internal price is a massive strategic juggling act. We're trying to balance divisional autonomy, basically letting them run as independent businesses, against global tax efficiency, currency risk, and, of course, keeping both of those managers highly motivated.
So where does that internal price actually land? Well, it's got to live within a specific range. The absolute floor is the marginal cost of the supplying division. Any lower, and they're just bleeding money. The ceiling is the external market price, because hey, if the buying division can get it cheaper from an outside supplier, they absolutely will. The real tension happens when corporate headquarters swoops in and forces a specific price just to shift profits around for tax reasons. If a price is forced like that, it destroys fairness and completely demotivates the managers. But if both divisions need a fair measure to stay motivated despite what corporate wants for taxes, we can use this clever little workaround called dual pricing. Step 1, you record a higher price for the selling division so their books look profitable. Step 2, you record a lower cost for the buying division so they're actually motivated to buy internally. And step 3, head office just steps in and subsidizes the difference to reconcile the accounts. It effectively subsidizes that internal marketplace to keep everyone happy and working together. All right, on to Section 4, Measuring Success. It's the heavyweight bout between ROI and ROI. Good old return on investment, or ROI. It is incredibly popular. It just takes controllable profit, divides it by controllable investment, and boom, you get a clean, easy-to-understand percentage. And everyone loves a percentage, right? But ROI has a fatal behavioral flaw. It's known as sub-optimization. Here's the matchup. Because ROI is a percentage, it's super easy to manipulate. Managers might delay crucial maintenance or sell off necessary equipment, literally just to shrink their investment base and artificially spike that percentage. Residual income, or RI, on the other hand, is an absolute dollar amount. You take the profit and strictly deduct a capital charge, which is basically the cost of renting the money from the company. Behaviorally speaking, RI works so much better. Let me paint a picture of this classic ROI dysfunction for you. Imagine you're a division manager. You are crushing it, currently enjoying a stellar 15% ROI. Head office comes along and offers you a brand new project that yields a solid 12% return. What do? You reject it. Why? Because 12% drags down your precious 15% average. But wait, the company's overall cost of capital is only 10%, so the company definitely wants that 12% project, but you, the manager, rejected it just to protect your bonus. That right there, that is the dysfunctional trap of ROI suboptimization. To wrap up this scorecard battle, RI ensures managers say yes to any project that covers the cost of capital. A more advanced version of this is EVA, or economic value added, which makes some strict accounting adjustments to find true economic profit. But essentially, both RI and EVA guarantee that if a project makes a return higher than the cost of capital, the manager's bonus goes up and the company gets richer. It is a perfect alignment of division goals with shareholder wealth. Finally, Section 5, looking outward with benchmarking. Because we can't just look inward forever, right? Depending on what we need to fix, we've got 4 lenses we can use here. Internal benchmarking compares departments right inside the same organization. Competitive benchmarking looks directly at our rivals. Functional benchmarking is super interesting. It looks at the absolute best in class for a specific function, no matter what industry they're in. And strategic compares those big, high-level corporate strategies. And listen, benchmarking isn't just staring enviously at someone else's numbers. It's a rigorous 6-step cycle. First, you identify the exact area to fix and pick the right partner to benchmark against. Then, you collect the data, analyze the specific gap between your performance and theirs, and, this is the most important part, you actually implement the improvements. Finally, you monitor the results. It's a structured, repeatable mechanism for continuous growth.
And that wraps up our explainer. We've really seen how powerful metrics are today. If you measure the wrong thing, like non-controllable costs or purely short-term ROI, you're going to accidentally reward dysfunctional behavior. Measure the right things and you drive true strategic alignment. So I want to leave you with this one provocative thought to chew on. Based on everything we explored today, what is your own company measuring right now? And what dysfunctional behavior might it be accidentally rewarding? Definitely think about that the next time you're staring at a performance dashboard. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.